Hi, Sunny. Oh, thanks. So, welcome to the Sunday night talk. Hey, what? Yeah, so before I start, below my video there are some links if you want private sessions with me. Hi, Keel. Hi, MK. There's a link there. Private sessions are very different from this because it's way more intense and it's just there is talks and events, my book, if you want to donate, and thank you for those who have donated. I really appreciate it. And a link there to my page on Trollbook, Facebook. Yeah, that's it. Hi, David. So, this is Lisa sat on a chair, talking about Lisa sitting on a chair. Because that's all there is. That's all there is. All there is what's happening. That's it. That's the basis of what's been talked about. Hi, Sergey. You know, we give it the name non-duality because there's no other word for it. It's just a point of reference so that people know what's been spoken about. And non-duality as a subject is not always talked about in the same way, as we know. But here, it's not about getting anything, going anywhere, practice, advice, anything like that. All that's being pointed to is just what is happening. And there's something there in the human that wants to get that. Oh, your love is more than enough, Sunny. Thank you. There's something in the human, there's something there that wants to understand what's been said so that it can get it. So then it can understand it. And then it'll feel complete. Hi, Joe. But that's an illusion that appears. It's just another appearance that there is something there looking for it. There's something there looking for something to happen. The illusion of there being somebody there who is separate can only live in the illusion of getting something. It's always trying to get somewhere, even when it's waiting or even when it's given up, surrendered, and all this stuff that this separate self, all the tricks it gets up to. There's no end to that because that is the engine of the self. That's the way it runs. It will never run any other way. Never. That's its makeup. That's the way it's wired. It can't help it. It looks in what's happening to try and understand what is happening. But it's impossible because it's just what's happening. You can't understand it. Immediate. It's just a glass being a glass. It's just a table being a table. So it looks like, oh, I need to kind of see the energy in the table. You can't see the energy in the table. The table is just appearing. Just appearing. And it is energy. Everything's energy. Even scientists say that. You know, it's all made of energy. It's put under a microscope or a super microscope, and it's loads of energetic particles and molecules all bashing against each other and making all these things happen. But where they come from is not from time. Not from time. Time is, hi Ramona, time is and isn't. Time seems to exist in no time. Can't get that. I can't get that. But that's just the way it is. Time appears in no time. Well, Joe says, everything's not what you think. Well, even if you think it is a way, that's what it is. That's what it is. Because what is happening includes everything, every thought, every seeking idea, concept, feeling, the feeling of states that seem to say, I'm getting somewhere, I'm going towards it, I'm closer to it. And that is it. That is what's happening. It's impossible to get closer to what's happening because it already is the case. There's not somebody sat here called Lisa who's in a state or anything like that. You know, all this looking for enlightenment, when eventually that kind of appearance of a me is not there anymore, you'll see that there never was enlightenment. It was just a total figment of the me's imagination, a total fantasy enlightenment. It's already free appearing as everything, as what is happening. That's why it's so impossible to get. Can't get it. So there's no one here called Lisa who's in a state. I mean, Lisa, most of the day, doesn't even think about non-duality. It's just too busy doing other stuff. Like today, it was DIY all day. All day. Not one thought. Just the thought, oh, I must finish at 6:30 so I can have a shower and, you know, and chill for a while. It's so completely free. It's so completely freeing, but not for anybody. It's free of seeking. It's free of trying to get somewhere, trying to be something, trying to understand something. That's the freedom. Freedom from that. But it's not personal. What I'm talking about is not personal at all. It's just so ordinary. It's so ordinary. And yet extraordinary. Because it's so it's so beyond comprehension, beyond grasping. And it's so funny as well because it's so ironic. You know, people take it very seriously. It's very serious. Non-duality is very serious, you know, and it's not at all. It's just so simple. It's too simple. A teacher I had years and years ago was an amazing, amazing man. And he wasn't a non-duality speaker or anything like that, but he was an amazing man. He always used to say, keep it simple, stupid. And it is, it's so simple. It's just what's happening. Sitting on a seat, sitting on a bed, or wherever you are. Is it? Because it cannot be any other way. Any other way is just a thought. Just a feeling. Just a sense. This me is a sense. It's a contracted sense of being somebody that is accompanied by me thoughts, me neuroses. The only difference is whether the difference is it's so obvious and so ordinary, but the difference is so huge because it's the end of all that neurotic seeking. It's the end of all that not feeling good enough, not getting there, not all those thoughts and feelings that we have as a seeker. It's the end of them. It's simply that. It's simply the end of that. There's no explosion of light. I mean, there might be a few experiences accompanied with it, but you know what? I've been looking at that because there was a lot of experiences here. But basically, as far as I can see here, that's just the system rewiring. It's just the system rewiring. It doesn't really mean anything. It's no indication of anything. Because before there was this apparent change, there was all these spiritual experiences, and Lisa used to think it was a meaningful thing, and that, you know, something was happening. She was getting closer to something. And ironically, when this figment of something called Lisa, which wasn't true, it was just seen that it was always just this. It's always, always. Joe says, thoughts are coming and going. This isn't coming and going. Yeah, well, thoughts just arise. It's just what's happening. And that's it. Thoughts, if there's thoughts there, that's just what's happening. If there is seeking there, that's just what's happening. That's it. It can't be any other way. It's so perfect. So perfect. But not in the human way that we think perfection is. Human way of perfection is like nirvana or some sort of peace on earth. I mean, as a human, yeah, we all want that. But it's not the way perfection is. It's not in the way the human thinks of. You know, the human perception, the me perception of perfect is no more suffering, no more pain, no more annoying people in my life, no more illnesses, no more being poor. All these things that the human thinks is perfection, but it's not like that. All those things I've just described are the perfection because there cannot be any other way. So if you want to ask questions, please do. Because I always love that. I always love the interaction. Oh, someone emailed me to talk about something in particular. Very lovely lady who lost somebody in her life last year. And she wanted me to talk about death. Difficult subject. And yet not. The disappearance of all the appearances is death, apparent death. The pain we feel when we lose a loved one is the natural reaction of the human. It's the natural reaction, like, you know, when a cow loses its calf, has its calf taken away, how it moves for days and morning, moves and moves until it finally subsides and it's gone. Well, as far as we know, we don't know. That's the human. The human loves other people or other animals or other things sometimes. But the disappearance of those things is the disappearance of them, because everything disappears. This is energy forming and reforming itself into all the different things, including people we love. And then it forms itself into the death of that body. And that can be very sad. And there's nothing wrong with the sadness. The sadness is also beautiful. It's also part of the life. The appearance of sadness. So energy is always forming and reforming itself in apparent time, in no time. Appearing, disappearing. But it's all the same energy. It's all the same thing. And everything is included in that, even the grief. So he says, yes, the intensity of the feelings that rise after the death of a loved one is overwhelming. Yes, yes, and why not? Isn't that part of this life? Hi, Claudia. That's part of this life. You know, you stub your toe, ow, really hurts. Lose a load of money, whoa, that's annoying. Or, you know, the worst thing I think for people is losing a loved one, and that's the way it appears, and there's no way out of it. No way out of it. You know, then the seeker might come up and say, well, there must be a way out of it, there must be something I can do. It's like, well, I don't think there is. I don't think there is. You know, however the me constructs this fantasy idea about how I should be, it just takes over. Joe, the coming to terms with the loss. Yeah, that could be a coming to terms with it, and that's just that's just how this life appears. You know, because we're humans, and we have certain conditions that we have as humans, you know, and all things. You know, we get older, we get ill, all that. And all that is the life. That's this appearing as this life. Hi, Ella. I like the way you call me this. So I don't really know what else to say on death. So in that sense, there is no death. There is no death because there is no time. There is just the appearance and disappearance of things and people, and there is the response to that. And that's the nature of this appearance, the nature of it. You know, the nature of the human is to drink and eat and all that stuff. Sunny, yeah, doesn't look a good game from a human perspective. No, it doesn't. But that's the way it is as the human perspective. That's the way the human is. Normally, humans feel pain. You know, we have these emotions, very complex emotions. Mona, I feel somehow one part is hearing you like a familiar bell ringing, hearing beyond the words freedom, and another part says, I want to get that freedom, show me the way. Yeah, doesn't it just? Seems like it's one part believing in control concepts and another part knows it's all bullshit. Even the parts are bullshit. Free falling, bumping into resistance, it seems. Yeah, well, that resistance, that just, that's how it is, you know, I mean, there's a sense of what's being talked about because it's natural. What I'm talking about is the natural state. There's nothing special or, there's nothing special about what I'm talking about. It's not special. Just seems special to the me because it feels like I'll never get it, I'll never get it. I have resistance against resistance. Yeah, well, you know, that illusion of being somebody plays all the games. It's got every trick in the book. Every trick. It's so cunning. It's so clever. Hi, Tangerine. Yeah, so when there's a sense of what's been talked about, a natural sense of reality, which is what is, this figment will clash. It'll come up. It doesn't want to. It doesn't want to. It wants something for itself. It's going to hold on. Ramon, it's so nice when you enjoy all these tricks. Yeah, yeah. Not when you're in them though. I remember being in those. Jeez. Oh my God. It was like couple of years ago, what was happening here was like, oh yeah, it's just the natural reality. It's just this. It's just the natural reality. Then suddenly, bang! In would come that that structure, that energetical contraction, and say, where's it gone? Not with that smile though. Where's it gone? Where's it gone? Where's it gone? I've lost it. I've lost it. It's just an illusion. That sense, when there's a sense of this freedom, impersonal freedom, it's very likely and common that the sense of self will come in and say, you've lost it. I've lost it. Well, I never had it. Because what I'm talking about is totally impersonal. It's the end of personal. Not the end of responses and reactions, but the end of them being personal. It's the end of that. Well, is there anything that can be known? No. No, because knowing is just another appearance. It's not a state. Because say knowing if something happens, you can't hold on to that. Try as one might, like this awareness teaching, trying to hold on to awareness. Biggest waste of time ever, because it's like, it's so subtly pointless. This doesn't need something to be aware of it. This doesn't need to be known. That's the thing. The irony is, excuse me, what is does not need to be known. Knowing would just be a kind of a layer on it that is unnecessary and still kind of personal. Knowing is personal. Alisa, but can't you know that nothing can be known? It's not really like that. Hang on, let me just look at that. It's not like I know it. It's not. It's more than knowing. It's just obvious. Like when you walk out into the rain and it's raining. It's just raining. It's more like that. It's just obvious. I mean, do you need to know you're sitting on a chair? Or is it obvious? You don't need to know it. It's just clear. Well, beyond comprehension. Yes, totally. Claudia, it's intuitive. No, it's more like what I said about sitting on a chair. Do you need to know you're sitting on a chair? You'd have to think about it. Yeah, I know that. But it's already the case before you know it. Knowing about it is just an add-on, as it were. Because, you know, I'm going to drink this water, and I can say, I know I'm drinking water. I know I'm going to drink water. But you just don't need to. The drinking of the water just happens. Oh, that's a good question. How is it? But can't you know that nothing can be known? It's not necessary to know anything. It's kind of pointless. It's just unnecessary. So immediate, says Claudia. Sunny, I feel a knot in my throat, chest area, a subtle constant fear, and then the release into nothingness and feel expansion. Just stating what is happening, don't feel like there is anything to fix as such, but there is a feeling of fear which I cannot put in words. Yeah, that's just the contracted sense. The me lives in fear, whether greatly or more or less. You know, everybody lives in a certain state of tension or anxiety, you know, especially when seeking is really prevalent. It's a kind of contracted sense that always happens around here, or in the solar plexus or somewhere. Yeah, but it isn't anything. It isn't anything. Well, there isn't anyone that can know anything anyway. No, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, because anything that would want to know it or try to know it would be the seeker. I need to know it. I need to know I'm sitting on a chair so that I can know it. Oh, brilliant. Oh, well, it confirms itself that way. Yeah, it really does. I know, I'm sitting on a chair. That was funny. I love that. It's like sitting on a chair. You don't need to know. It just happens. Yeah, it's just happening. It's like you shoot seeker out of the air. It's just a body with an overactive head. Poof. Yeah. Ah, that did tickle me. Alexandra, I was asking the question because it seems that after the dropping away of the self, there is a certainty about the fact that what is ungraspable. So it looks like something is known. Yeah, yeah, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. It's like, I like using the Father Christmas example because it's such a good one, because most of us in the West were brought up as children to believe in Santa Claus, and even if you weren't, you can imagine it. It's like, you no longer believe in Santa Claus. You don't need to know that. You don't need to look inside and go, do I really know I don't believe in Santa Claus? It's just obvious. It's just the way it is. It's just the case. Joe, past and future are only thoughts. Yeah, often accompanied by feelings. Well, the past and future is very real to the sense of me, because the me really feels there is time and things really did happen and things are really going to happen. Hi, Gordon. Does it even matter of the contracted sense of self drops or not? No, not really, only to the contracted sense of self. Because when it drops, it's no longer matters. Oh God, everything's making me laugh tonight. It only matters from that perspective if it's drops or not. Because when I meet other humans, I don't meet contracted selves. I don't see contracted selves. And even if someone tells me there's a contracted self there, it's just an appearance. Because even with the contracted sense of self there or not, this is life appearing as that. Life doesn't give a damn whether it's appearing as a contracted self or not. It just doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter to cows. It just doesn't matter. I mean, you don't see cows running around wondering if it matters if there's a contracted self or not. It's kind of similar in that way. Only matters to that seeking energy. Sunny, even though the need to know is an obstacle, I still feel it's good to need to have it brought me here to listen to your words and just drop it. Yeah, Yeah, that's why we come here, isn't it? That's why we come, because it kind of undermines that illusion. That's why people, you know, some speakers say, people say, why are you a speaker? And, you know, most people say, well, lots of things, like, I'm not a speaker. Or there's no reason why. In the reality, there is no reason why for anything, because everything is perfect. But yet within that, as a happening, it's what it does do is that it does undermine that illusion of a contracted sense of self, because the natural reality is naturally sensed, it's naturally felt, or recognized, or whatever you want to call it. I don't really like using those sorts of words, but there's no other way I can put it, because it is the natural reality. So these sorts of talks do undermine that certainty of me, because people who come to these talks, most of them somehow sense that that sense of self is not the natural, is not, there's something wrong, there's something wrong there, there's something happening which is not right. Yeah. Because remember Tony, when there was this sense of contraction and no contraction, and it was just mental. God, spent days in bed, it was mad. And I'd speak to him on the phone and he would say, you know, just keep coming to the talks, just keep coming to the talks, because something just, the repetitiveness of it, is somehow necessary to just undermine it. Kind of goes around the back door of it, in a sense. But it's not personal. This is not a practice I'm speaking of. Anything to say about waking from sleep, says Joe. Only that waking from sleep happens. And in this character, it's usually feeling a bit groggy for about 10 minutes. I'm not one that jumps out of bed going, "Dah!" After 10 minutes perhaps, but it's just waking up. This is the human function. We go to sleep because we need to rest and refresh and, you know, and rest the body and all the rest of the functions that happen. And then we wake up. Yeah, we wake up. Open our eyes, get up. That's all I have to say about it. It's just something that happens. There's nothing else. Not here anyway. It's just normal. Sleep is weird. Yeah, sleep is weird. But seemingly necessary. You can torture people by not letting them sleep. Oh, it's hot. Yeah. Sleep is also wonderful. So nice lying down, isn't it? Going to sleep. We have to reload our batteries. We do. We do. It's necessary. Most mammals have to sleep. I think all mammals have to sleep. Not sure. Yeah. Claudia, I find it so utterly amazing when there is realization that nothing is personal. Makes me feel so thrilled. Yeah, it's wonderful. There's nothing personal. It only is sometimes taken as personal by me. But even that's not personal. Nothing is personal because everything ends. This whole thing ends. The day ends. The room ends. You go outside, room's gone. Switch off the video, the YouTube. It's gone. It's ended. Everything ends. Nothing's personal. It being personal is just a me fantasy. It's happening to me. Everything's happening to me. There is no me, and nothing's happening to it. It's just a story. Me story. Joe story. Story in time. Yeah, time, which appears in no time. Not linear time. And because you can't actually find linear time. Can't find it. No one's found it. Ramona, oh, shame hard passing by. For I feel it's such a self-centered, endless looking in the mirror to feel all is not good enough, pain and seek freedom. Of course, the shame parade, part of the self-seeking tricks box. Yeah, it is. I mean, really, it really is it's tricky. It'll convince itself of anything at all. I mean, it's little. It's just, oh, there's no end to it. Especially in seeking. Oh my God, it really fools itself into thinking that there is something. I'm getting closer. I mean, not in everybody, of course, but I've seen it a lot. I'm getting closer. I'm more there. No, there's no one more here. It's just here. Can't get more here. I mean, how more on sitting on the chair can you get? Can't. I want to be more sitting on the chair. More. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Marina, love that chair. Thank you. It makes me laugh. Sunny, there should be a scientific study like scanning the brain of all the awakened beings and see if there are any physical changes. Well, actually, apparently, science has concluded that they can't find the person. They can only find brain activity. But I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. Awakened beings. Oh, if only. Sunny. And if there are, then maybe we can reverse engineer and replicate those changes and drop the sense of self for everyone. Maybe science will do that. Maybe. Who knows? Yeah. Apparently science has looked for the person and they can't find it. You can only find the brain activity. Yep. Can't find people. Can't find it. It's not a real thing. There is no person. There is just what's happening. And that can appear as the illusion of being a person. But there is nobody who are persons. It's just humans with the illusion of personhood. Personhood, like a hood. Well, no people, no souls. No. No, there is only what is. There is only everything. Nothing in it is personal. Nothing. Everything is just one field of this. One unified field. Yeah, for no one. Joe, it's all a myth. Alexandra, some say that the dropping away has nothing to do with any appearance, but that it is very unlikely that it happens in a body full of self-defense mechanisms. Please, could you comment on that? I don't think there are any rules. Likely it happens to a body full of self-defense mechanism. No, I don't see why that would be the case. They might suddenly just be, oh, there's all this self-defense mechanisms. Boom, gone. There's no rhyme or reason for it. There was absolutely no rhyme or reason for it here. None at all. Ramona, no person could be found, only brain activity. Woohoo! Yeah. Isn't that great? Sunny, do you think when life gives pain, then somehow it gives courage to face it? Or am I trying to comfort myself? No. That would be a story that happens. The reason why things happen. And that might be true or not true. That sounds like a kind of a therapeutic kind of thing. But there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with trying to comfort yourself. There's nothing wrong with anything. Anything. Because everything is it. So there's nothing wrong with anything. Ironically. Ramona, Alexandra, don't say that. I'm full of self-defense mechanisms. And Lisa always has this wonderful reply saying it's all inclusive. Yeah, self-defense mechanisms. Yeah. It's like saying, I can't become awakened because I have no legs and I'm in a wheelchair. Well, I can't become awakened anyway. But that me mechanism dropping. It's nothing, no, there's no reason. Oops, sorry, I'm full of them too. Yeah, well, you know, most humans are, more or less. It's just what's happening. Defense mechanisms happening. And, you know, me's going, I've got self-defense mechanisms, I need to get rid of them to become free. And has all these stories, more matrix, more matrix, more matrix. Sunny, the free fall is scary. For the sense of self that wants security and certainty and for everything to be set out, yes, yes it is. Because it's the end of that. But when it's not there, it's not scary at all because there's nobody to be scared of it. That's the end of anyone who can be scared of it. It's just really ordinary, really. It's so simple. Oh my God, it's so simple. Tell you, I wish I was a scientist and I could find a way to change, get rid of the me. I'd be so rich instead of poor. Like some me, like no, maybe I'd be poor because me's don't want to be gotten rid of. Sunny, thank God no one's going to hit the ground. No, no one will hit the ground. It'll just be simply, Father Christmas isn't real anymore. Me isn't real. Me was never real. Father Christmas wasn't real. Me wasn't real. That's it. Joe, Eckhart Tolle used to go on about people's level of consciousness. Yeah, well, I'm not interested in that at all. Levels of consciousness. I mean, there might be levels of me consciousness in terms of, I don't know, I don't even know, I don't know, I don't know anything about consciousness. Consciousness to me is separation, or in the real sense of the word, to be just aware of your surroundings, because that's what we do, don't we? We're a mechanism who is aware of our surroundings and aware of information. That to me is consciousness. It's just a function, it's a functioning, otherwise we'd just be lying in a puddle on the floor, unable to function. But it's a function. Sunny, freak. It's like, what the hell was all that search about? Exactly, yes. Yeah, it wasn't about anything, because there was never anything to find. It was all just a fantasy. Alexandra, can it be useful to ask oneself, can I let go of this or that? Can I let go of wanting security or wanting to know what it's all about, etc.? Can it produce a letting go? Only in a story, but it can't let go of the one that's asking. Because the one that's asking, it's a kind of a circle that's just going around in a circle. Who's asking? It's the same one that's asking, can I let go? Can I go? Can I go? It's just, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's letting go of wanting security. That would be a therapeutic thing, and that can happen. Why not? Well, that's what apparently happens. People go to therapy, they become stronger or more, less afraid, or all those things that therapy does. But the separation feeling can be still there. So we're not talking about the person getting better. This is not about the person getting better at all. This is not therapy. I don't do therapy and I don't give advice, unless I do. But this is not about advice. Can't give advice sitting on a chair because it's already happening. Oh God. Ramona, Joe, Eckhart used this in talks about blaming the other who feels you is doing wrong. Then he says, well, this person is just behaving according to its consciousness level. It ain't personal / context. Yeah, yeah. That's just the behavior. That's the conditioning, the behavior. What's being spoken about here? Wow, no better or worse. I can't remember what that's in reference to. because I've forgotten everything I've said. Joe, ever pretended to be invisible? Is that a question? If it is, I don't remember. Maybe as a child, you know how children do, pretend to do all sorts of things. Ah, yeah. Was there's a better or worse, but it's only for me. Yeah, it's only for me. Yeah. Yeah, I feel better. I feel safer now. I feel safer. There's nothing wrong with that because that is how it is. Everything is just how it is. Can't be any other way. Even the me is how it is. No difference being asleep or awake unless you're asleep, says Richard Sylvester. Love that quote. Just the same. It's all the same. It's one field. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Amazing. One field. The force. Yeah. Because it can't be anything else. I mean, you can't separate anything out. There's only the appearance of separation, but in reality, nothing is separate. Nothing. It's just the one happening. Nothing can be separate. I mean, I could say, okay, I'm going to put this glass in the kitchen, and then I'll be separate from the glass. But I won't be separate from the glass. There just won't be any glass. It's like too logical. The story, Joe says, the story of it's not what you think it is, lol. Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about, Joe. Okay, I have 10 minutes left. Story. Sorry. I mean, intellectually, the me can understand this intellectually. But this isn't about intellectual understanding because then what happens is that the separate self then has to hold the intellectual understanding and then feels it understands something, which is just another illusion because this can't be understood. There's nothing to understand. So it can be intellectually understood what's being said, but it's not about intellectually understanding it. Though, sometimes, it can seem to have a knock-on effect. Sometimes. That seemed to happen here, I think, a while ago now, quite a while ago, where there was this, I wasn't even in non-duality, hadn't even heard of it. And this whole sense of something was just, it felt like my life was falling to pieces. And it was, because it was me, the sense of me falling to pieces. And it was all kind of going on. And I went to see a couple of teachers, and that was all this awareness stuff. And it's like, it doesn't seem right. That's not it. It's not it. Then I went to see Tony, and he said, what did he say? It was like one sentence. Oh, what was it? Something like, I'm going to have to paraphrase it. I used to remember this sentence because I had such a profound moment. Something like paraphrasing here, there isn't anybody to die, or there isn't anybody to become awakened, something like that. And there was a kind of an intellectual, like, oh yeah, but that was kind of intellectual, but somehow it kind of resonated through somehow. Eventually the gossamer thin wet paper bag of somebody called Lisa eventually just went. Please take your time, remember that sentence. Yeah, what was it? Memory's getting worse. It was something like, there isn't anybody to be free. Something like that. That's as close as I can get it. Yeah, something like that. It was like a big bell rang. Ding! I remember sitting there in the audience going, oh, God, of course, that's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah. It didn't help the process. It was just like a light bulb going on. Because I hadn't heard that being said before, and all I heard was awareness, consciousness, awareness of awareness, witnessing, witnessing the witness, witnessing the witness, which I call the hall of mirrors. The same me, just lots of mirrors. Ramona, there isn't somebody to die is good enough. I like it. There isn't anyone to be free. Yeah, it was just like, because here there was no idea what was going on. It just felt like my life is falling apart. Literally falling apart. And it was very uncomfortable. Yeah, for a while. But it is uncomfortable for that sense of self, because it feels like it's just losing its grasp. Grasping about. And that ends. No big deal. Only feels like a deal at the time. Okay, I have 2 minutes left. Is there any pressing comments, questions, anything anyone would like to say? I've really enjoyed this talk. It's like such an enjoyment of it when it happens. And it's like the idea of the Skypes as well. It's just, I always really love it. Really love it. It's just beautiful, really. Heal. This is the end of consciousness, right? For Joe and Ramona. Yeah. Me is, in that sense, consciousness and me are buddies. Best buddies. They're the same thing. Awareness, consciousness. There's somebody who has to be aware. There's somebody who has to be conscious. It's just illusory. I'm aware, me. I'm aware I'm sitting in a chair, me. And I know it. Hi, Pilar. How is it uncomfortable? It's like losing the life you always thought you had. I can only equate it to, in metaphorical terms, like you've lost your house, you've lost your partner, you've lost your dog, you've lost your job, you've lost you've lost everything. You lose everything. But there was nothing, but it's only illusory because you don't lose anything. It's totally, totally illusory that you're losing something. You're not losing anything because it's already everything. You're not losing a thing. It's a total psychological, energetical illusion that I am losing something. When you're in it, geez, it can be quite uncomfortable. What went on through your thought when the self was falling apart? It was like, what the fuck is going on? That was the thoughts. What the hell is going on? Sometimes I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk upstairs. My feet were like... Sunny. I guess what Eckhart meant by consciousness level is that when an individual gets a glimpse that he, she doesn't exist, but it's not totally realized, that he, she will be higher than most. No, well, if that's what he says, I do not agree. Because there's nothing higher than anything else. There's no difference between anything. Anything. There's no higher. There's no coming closer to this. It's like saying, say we've got a row of chairs here, and someone has a glimpse of like, oh yeah, they're no closer to sitting on the chair than somebody else. It's just not true. But lower than awakened beings with no, lower than awakened beings with no sense of self, just put in a model. Of course, it's not the ultimate truth. No, not at all. There is no higher or lower. There's nothing. It's all the same. It only appears different. Plant appears different from the glass. Person with blonde hair appears different from person with black hair. But it's just the same energy appearing as plant and glass. There isn't anybody who becomes higher. It's the end of higher. The end of it. It's the end of levels, ranking, you know, and all that stuff. It's the opposite, actually. It's the opposite. You become rankless. Oh, thank you, Tangerine. Wow, no ownership. No, because who would own anything? It's just it's illusory. Owning anything, nobody owns anything. There isn't anybody to own anything. Ownership is just an idea, just a concept, just a belief. Hi, Lee. Oh, thanks, Q. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Tangerine, Sunny, Pilar, Ramona, everybody else who I can't see the names. Wow. Alexandra, Sunny, Claudia. Everybody, thank you so much for joining me. It's been really good, and I will be here next week. I keep meaning to do a sunset talk and forgetting because this is like a goldfish. Oh, Sunday. Oh, okay. Yeah, so thanks, guys. Thanks, Pilar. And have a good week all. Much love. Take care. Bye. Mwah.